All right, so why don't we get started? Hello and welcome. I'm Adam Berezin from MSDynamicsWorld.com, and I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's session. I'm really excited, actually, to be able to present today's session as we're going to be discussing ways that ISVs and partners can leverage our large community of Dynamics community members to generate leads, create brand awareness, and ultimately position yourselves as thought leaders and experts in the eyes of your prospects. We wanted to actually run this session because even though we work with about 300 ISVs on an annual basis and partners, there's still lots of ISVs and partners out there that really just kind of think of us as a publisher and don't really know about the other part of our business, which is providing targeted online lead gen programs. So just kind of a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to submit them in the Q&A box on the right side of your screen, and I'll be sure to get to every one of them at the end of the session. I'll also be recording this session, and I can send you the link once it's been posted online. So what we're going to focus on today is we'll be touching upon a couple of things. First, I'd like to tell you about MSDynamicsWorld.com, or MSDW, as we call it. Chances are, if you're attending the session, you've most likely never used our marketing programs before and are more familiar with us on the publishing side, but I'll be discussing ways we help ISVs and partner marketers. Next, we'll be discussing ways that you can engage our active site members. Then we'll be going over some of the challenges that ISVs and partners have when it comes to marketing their solutions and service offerings to people in the Dynamics community, as well as how we solve those challenges. And then after that, we'll wrap up the session with some Q&A. So at MS Dynamics World, we do essentially three things for ISVs and partners to help them succeed. Number one is create awareness. We give ISVs and partners lots of exposure in many different ways to our site members, helping them to position their brand. Number two is deliver a powerful message. And, you know, I always like to say never underestimate the importance of positioning your company as experts and thought leaders within the Dynamics niche you occupy. This is a critical element to the success of any ISV or partner, and at MSDW, we know exactly how to help you achieve this. Number three, and I would say it's the most important, is generate targeted sales leads. So whether you want to reach that, whether you're an ISV and you want to reach Dynamics customers or partners, or if you're a partner and you want to reach out to Dynamics customers or very specific segments of the Dynamics community, this is really our bread and butter and probably the biggest benefit to working with us on the marketing side. How well you can do numbers 1 and 2 will ultimately impact your ability to generate targeted leads. So who do we write for? Who reads our content? You know, and who are the types of people that join our community? So since our inception in 2008, we create content that is really designed to attract decision makers and decision influencers, those senior level personnel. We do this purposely because it actually allows us to provide incredibly high quality marketing programs to ISVs and partners. And our site members are mainly comprised of Dynamics customers and partners. We don't really focus on attracting people that don't have a Dynamics platform. So a little bit about our community members and about us in general. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we launched in January of 2008. And actually leading up to our launch, I remember speaking with, it was probably about 40 to 50 different ISVs and partners, really trying to find out about the ways that they generate leads in the Dynamics market. And I remember at the time, there were really essentially two choices. You could sponsor an in-person trade show or you could rent a list. And to clarify, I'm not a fan of renting lists. We don't rent lists at MS Dynamics World, and one of the reasons why we created MSDW was to be an online marketing platform for ISVs and partners. And also prior to our launch, you know, there really wasn't a dedicated resource out there for people in the Dynamics community to keep up to date with the latest news in the market, learn ways for enhancing the operational efficiencies of their business through the use of their Dynamics platform. So we've really been able to accomplish both of those things, and actually we are currently the world's largest online content resource for the Dynamics community, and we have over 60,000 active site members of our community. And by active, I mean people who have registered as members and log into the site multiple times each month to download content, read articles, and attend webcasts. And as I mentioned previously, we try to create content that appeals to executives, and 64% of our entire member base consists of senior level personnel, those business decision makers and influencers. We have a worldwide presence, and as you can see by the breakdown, we have the most site members out of North America, but have a strong presence in Europe and Asia Pacific, and we're also building up our member base in South Africa. In terms of product focus, and really what products our members concentrate on, we have over 20,000 AX-focused members, over 18,000 Dynamics CRM-focused members, over 14,000 NAV members, 14,000 plus GP members, and over 3,700 SL and RMS members. And we do focus slightly on SL, not so much on RMS. We've never really made them a priority in terms of content focus. We kind of just stick with sort of the larger, Dynamics products. So as I sort of touched upon earlier, we are more than a publisher, much more. Last year, ISVs and partners who participated in our marketing programs generated a combined 50,000 targeted leads within the Dynamics community. And most of you might not know this also, but since May of 2014, we are actually part of the Microsoft Marketing Services Bureau. And what that means is Microsoft actually has endorsed all of our marketing programs. So we've been very happy about that. So let's get right into it and talk about a few of the challenges that ISVs and partners have as it pertains to marketing in the Dynamics community. So as I mentioned, we work with hundreds of ISVs and partners, but ISVs and partners who haven't yet worked with us seem to have difficulty in generating quality leads consistently within the Dynamics community throughout the year, and we found that there are really several challenges that many of these companies face. Challenge number one is developing and executing a comprehensive plan for lead generation. So, lots of ISVs and partners, they don't really have a diversified marketing plan, I would say, and can be placed into one of three categories. So ISV/partner number one is a company that only exhibits at in-person trade shows. So they'll exhibit at lots of Dynamics trade shows. They'll do no other online marketing activities for the year. And trade shows aren't a bad option. I like them, but you need to market your company and solutions online as well, because people always start the solution research process by looking online for information. So an example is if there's a Dynamics customer out there and they have a need, they're not going to wait 5 months until the next trade show to research ways on how to fill their need. They'll look online, and if your prospects can't find you online, there's a strong possibility that your competitors will capitalize on this. And the most important thing I would say about being online is where you choose to be present online. Does it make sense to pay a lot of money to run Google ads, or does it make more sense to have a strong presence on a Dynamics community-focused site like MSDW, which attracts thousands of your prospects on a regular basis? And then there's ISV or partner number two, and these are companies that don't really do any marketing at all and solely rely on partners to try and market their solutions. This really pertains more to ISVs, obviously. I think this is a huge mistake made by lots of ISVs, as partners will really only sell ISV solutions if their customers have an immediate need that the partner themselves can't fill. And a partner's priorities are selling Dynamics, selling their services, selling their own solutions, and then really, if all else fails, selling ISV solutions. And ISVs who spend countless hours trying to get partners to market their solutions are missing out on lots of opportunities, in my opinion. And then there's type of ISV/partner number three, and these are companies that might exhibit at a couple of trade shows but spend tons of money on Google ads, renting lists, and social media, none of which I actually would classify as direct online marketing. And the second challenge faced by many ISVs and partners is being able to effectively track your cost per lead, or CPL, or marketing ROI. This is the reason why I would say this is so important, is because it will clearly show you the marketing investments that are paying off and the ones that aren't. Even though numbers don't lie, there's really a psychological aspect to finding out your CPL, as I found. if you're a marketer who's been doing the same thing year after year, you've most likely developed a strong sense of comfort with what you're doing. And if you start trying to figure out your CPL, it might force you to change some of your marketing habits. And in general, I would say people do not like change. So many times ISVs and partners won't even try to figure out their CPL because they're afraid that the data will force them to change their marketing investments or strategy and step outside of their comfort zone. And the third challenge that ISVs and partners have as it pertains to marketing is creating content. There are ISVs and partners that want to create content but lack resources to do so, and others that don't feel the need to create content. And I would say that content is one of the most powerful tools you can have as an ISV or partner to accomplish those three things we mentioned a couple of slides ago: brand awareness, thought leadership, positioning, and lead generation. And I would say it's a must-have for all ISVs and partners in our space. And by content, I don't mean, I do mean you can develop white papers, customer case studies, product brochures, demos, webcasts, infographics, articles, et cetera, all that stuff. There are tons of different content formats that are highly effective for generating leads, as we found. And it's important to generate content in different formats because people's content consumption habits are very different. So, it's interesting, we always track this stuff, and some of your prospects may just prefer to watch webcasts, while others might just like to download white papers and other types of content. So developing content in different formats will actually help to maximize your reach among your prospects. And if you don't know where to go to create content, or how to create content, or want to put together a content strategy, I'd be happy to share some ideas with you. So feel free to contact me after the session. And really, the fourth challenge, which I think is probably the most difficult, is really a willingness to get out of your comfort zone. So it doesn't really only apply to figuring out your cost per lead, but also making sure that your brand and message go where your prospects are. And that's really an important thing to remember. And I'll repeat it. You have to go where your prospects are. So if your prospects are on our site, you need to be on our site. If they go to the user group summit, for example, then you should be there too. And it's not really a question of one or the other. Getting out of your comfort zone will essentially enable you to diversify your marketing investments, thus maximizing your reach among your prospects. So here are some ways that we solve those challenges, and we solve those challenges through a bunch of our different programs. So our marketing programs have three goals, and I've restated these goals a couple of times, but I'm going to say it again because I think it's so important. And these goals are to help ISVs and partners create awareness, position themselves as thought leaders and experts, and generate targeted sales leads within the Dynamics community. And the programs we've been running for 9 years were created to help solve the marketing challenges faced by many ISVs and partners, as we just discussed in the previous slide. And as the marketing needs of ISVs and partners evolve, so do our programs in order to continue to meet those needs. So we've done a really good job of sort of refining our offerings. We actually have more programs than what's listed up here, but I wanted to highlight our most popular and successful and exciting offerings that we have, which are the Content Lead Generation Program, Hyper-Targeted Webcast Promotion Program, our annual Partner Marketing Membership, and something that's pretty awesome that I'll get into in a little bit. It's called the Dynamics Innovation Expo, which is an amazing new opportunity for ISVs and partners. So kind of giving you an overview about the different offerings that we have. So for the Content Lead Generation Program, this was really sort of our first lead gen offering that we started providing to the Dynamics community, and it's definitely one of the most successful programs we offer, and it's very simple to use. And in fact, all of our programs are very easy to use, regardless of whether you are a new client working with MSDW or someone who's worked with us for years. If you're a small company or a large company, it doesn't make a difference. Our programs are very scalable to the needs of ISVs and partners of all sizes. And how this program works is we actually take all the content that you have in the form of your white papers, ebooks, infographics, customer case studies, solution brochures, and we post all of them to MSDW. And once they're posted to the site, they are all linked to your own lead collection system, which you access simply by logging into MSDynamicsWorld. And the lead system captures the complete contact info and business interests of any of our active site members who choose to download any piece of your posted content. So when you log into the system, you can export all this data and put it into your own CRM or marketing automation system if you use one. And something else that's really cool about this program is that we can even link your lead system on MSDynamicsWorld to any CRM or marketing automation system, which will allow to automatically push the leads through to your own system in real time. So that's a great option for that. And in addition to people finding your content by browsing your site, how we really get people to download your content and take an action with your company is sending out email blasts each month promoting one of your white papers, ebooks, or infographics to a targeted group of Dynamics community members. And really the great thing about this program and any of our programs is that we can target the exact group of people you want to reach. So for example, if you want to promote your content to AX users in the manufacturing industry who focus on shop floor control and are based in Scotland, I mean, we could literally build an entire campaign for you around those specifications because we can segment our member base a million different ways. So the next program I'm going to briefly describe is our hyper-targeted webcast program. And this program is actually so effective and so popular for ISVs that we run about 200 sponsored webcasts each year. And last year, the webcasts we ran were attended by more than 15,000 people in the Dynamics community. Our webcast program is designed to be the easiest webcast program you'll ever use. And you create the content since you're the content experts and the subject matter experts. But we take care of all the logistical elements of your session. So we host it, we moderate it, develop the registration page, promote your session in 3 email blasts over a 2-week period to targeted groups of people in the Dynamics community. And after the session runs, you're sent a report containing the contact info and business interests of every person who registered and attended your session. We record the session and we post the link on our site, and we send you the video file as well. And also something to note too, during the registration process, you'll also have the option to ask people to state where they are in the buying cycle for the type of solution you have to offer, which is really cool because it's just another sort of layer of pre-qualification for the leads that you get. So, for example, if you're a BI-focused ISV, you could literally ask people to select the time frame for when they're looking to purchase a BI solution, and then they could choose that appropriate time frame, and all that info would be captured on the registration report for your use. The next program that we offer is called our Annual Partner Marketing Membership. And this program is specifically designed for ISVs and partners who want to invest in targeted online marketing to the Dynamics community without making a huge investment. It's an annual membership offering that consists of your own webcast, which, as I just described in the previous slide, we host, promote, and moderate. You also get a separate email blast that you can use to promote your company, solutions, or presence at an upcoming event, etc. You also have the opportunity to post all of your content to the site for 1 year, and you get discounted rates off of our other programs. And you can also be part of a monthly marketing strategy call with a small group of your peers who you don't compete with to talk about different strategies for online marketing and best practices, etc. That's a pretty popular program. All right, and now getting into the Dynamics Innovation Expo, which is launching June 14th of this year. So this is the offering that I'm personally the most excited about because it's something I've wanted to do for a very long time. I'm not sure, several years ago, going back several years, I'm not sure how many of you remember, but we actually had run 4 virtual trade shows from 2009 to 2012. And at its peak in 2012, it had 4,000 attendees from 128 countries. It was a huge success, but to run them, they were very expensive and actually required a lot of time and planning from my team. And we really, therefore, just kind of chose to focus more on enhancing our core offerings. But I've always wanted to find a reason to run them again. And now, we feel that the timing is perfect because we see a real shift in the conference landscape in our space. There's a need for a different type of conference than what's currently being offered to the Dynamics community. And really, before I get into the details of our event, I really just kind of want to sum up the state of conferences as I see them in the dynamic space. And really, there are essentially three issues. So the first is Microsoft doesn't want to run any dynamics-focused conferences themselves for some reason. I'm not sure why. Lots of you know they got rid of Convergence, and then they put on this event called Envision, and then they, announced several months ago that, they were canceling Envision. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. But if you look at the events that are still around, they're all broadly focused to emphasize what's going on within a specific dynamics platform, and they lack a heavy concentration on specific industries or business focus areas. And really, as a result, all these in-person trade shows in our space are attracting attendees that aren't necessarily good prospects for many of the participating sponsors. And the third thing that I see in the conference space is that conferences in our space are really developed solely with the attendees in mind, not the sponsors. The sponsors, in my opinion, are an afterthought. And this is apparent by the number of distractions at these events that take attendees' attention away from sponsors. If you're at an in-person trade show and you have 150-plus sessions scattered throughout a mile-long conference center, it takes away the focus on the exhibit hall, and it doesn't make it easy for lots of attendees to even make it to the exhibit hall to see the sponsors. So we've come up with a solution for this, and the solution to this is called the Dynamics Innovation Expo, which is a virtual trade show, and it's going to take place on June 14th. And essentially, what this event is going to be is it's going to be the launch pad for new and innovative solutions in best-of-breed technology in the Dynamics community. ISVs and partners will get to showcase their solutions and service offerings to thousands of highly targeted prospects in the Dynamics community, the majority of whom are in the later stages of the purchase cycle and want to research vendors and their solutions. And unlike the current shows available, the Dynamics Innovation Expo puts the sole focus on promoting ISV and partner solutions and service offerings. So everything happens in the virtual exhibit halls, where sponsors will be grouped together based on their solution focus areas like EI, EDI, AP automation, et cetera, making it incredibly easy for attendees to find the exact types of solutions that they're interested in. So each sponsor has their own virtual exhibit booth where you can chat live with prospects who visit your booth. Attendees can also download your booth content and watch videos. All the sessions at the event will take place in the exhibit hall, which is something that never really happens at an in-person trade show. And something else is that all the sessions will be run by sponsors and will be shown within each exhibit booth. There's also lots of great back-end lead reporting available where you can get the complete information of all attendees who visit your booth, who download materials, chat with your team, and all of your chat conversations are saved for future use. So basically this, if you're an ISV who exhibits at lots of in-person trade shows, there's a lot of logistical headaches to deal with. You don't have to worry about any of that with this show. And the fact that we don't charge attendees as well opens it up to a lot of people, and also the fact that it's a virtual trade show, it's going to bring people from all around the world who don't necessarily want to pay to travel to in-person trade shows. And then I thought I'd just throw in just three testimonials and kind of, here's what some ISVs and partners have to say about us. If I can characterize what makes these companies so successful as well as some of the other ISVs and partners who work with us, I would say that A, they aren't afraid to step out of their comfort zone, B, they market consistently throughout the year to our members, and C, they have diversified marketing plans, which include many of our programs in combination with things that we don't offer, like in-person trade shows, et cetera. So, and that's it. So let's see if anybody has any questions. I thought I'd make the presentation kind of short and sweet so people can ask some good questions. All right, someone's asking, who do I connect my marketing team with for further information? Chris, if you want to send me an email, my info is right on the screen. I'd be happy to kind of point you in the right direction. And once again, if anybody has any questions, there's the Q&A box on the right-hand side of the screen. So please don't hesitate to ask some questions. Someone's asking, on the website, how do you get listed in the ISV directory / ISV solutions? Which program does that fall under? That would fall under the annual partner marketing membership. So all the companies that are listed on our site are partner marketing members. So they're engaged with us in programs. And the associated cost with that, it's $5,000 for the entire year. So you get a lot of value with that. And once again, you get your own webcast. You get an email blast that's separate from the webcast email promotions. You get to post all your content for a year. You get to be part of a marketing strategies call. So there's lots of cool elements to that package. You get a lot of value. And I should also note too that, unlike some other memberships that you might find at other organizations, this is a lead generation membership. So you're guaranteed to get leads from any program that you use with us. Okay, someone's asking if the session's recorded. Yes, I'm recording the session right now, and I'll send everybody the slides, and I'll send everybody the link to view the recording when it's online. Someone's asking if can I expand on that guarantee in terms of the lead generation guarantee. We don't have, like, for all of our programs, we don't say, okay, you're guaranteed to generate X amount of leads, because everybody targets a different niche. So 30 leads to someone that focuses on a very, very sort of niche within a niche in the Dynamics community could be a home run for them. But I can say that on some of our other programs, I'll use the webcast program in general. I mean, we typically get over 100 people per webcast that we run. And with the content lead generation program, we typically get about 103 on average leads per month for each participating ISV and partner. So, that's sort of the range that you can expect. Someone's asking, when do you begin taking sponsorships and generating registrations for the Innovation Expo? So we've already sold a bunch of sponsorships for that. We started marketing the event earlier this week, actually, and we already have over a dozen people signed up, and we're actually limiting the number of sponsorships for this event. We're going to keep it around 100. So I suspect that the event will probably fill up fairly quickly if we already have over a dozen people signed up in 2 days. And then in terms of marketing it to attendees, that's what we're going to start doing first week in April. And if you just take a look at our virtual trade show that we ran in 2012, we had over 4,000 attendees. Our member base has doubled in size since then. So, I mean, I'm expecting 4,000 attendees on the low end for this show. So it's going to be a great event. See if we have any more questions. Someone's asking, how is the prospect for a participation for an ISV shop floor software? Well, I think if I understand that question correctly, manufacturing is one of our larger verticals, and we do work with lots of companies that are focused within the manufacturing space. So when companies like that do any program with us, they always have pretty good results. Hope that answers your question. Someone's asking for Europe too. Yes, that's correct. For Europe as well. We have a very strong presence in Europe. About 28% of our audience is actually based in Europe. See if we have any more questions come in. Someone's asking a question about, what do I think of sort of the overall market, the overall offerings in the Dynamics space, not necessarily marketing, but sort of Dynamics products. Well, I mean, I think obviously Dynamics 365, I think, is going to be a huge player in our space, and I think it's important that ISVs try to develop integrations. ISVs and partners try to develop integrations for 365. In terms of the other products, I think they just extended their roadmap for GP, but really just until the end of 2018. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with that. But the person on my team that actually is sort of the most in-depth and has the most knowledge of all this stuff is our managing editor, Jason Gumpert. I don't know if people are familiar with him, but he's sort of the Dynamics guru on our team, and he actually founded the business with me as well. So he's a great resource, and if anybody wants his contact information, I'd be happy to give it out too. See if any more questions come in. And if anyone is having marketing challenges, of their own that they'd like to share, that would be great too. Someone's asking, is there a limit to the number of solutions that we can promote? The answer is no, there's no limit. So if you're engaged with us and, we'll take the annual partner marketing membership program and you have, 20 individual solutions that you want to post on the site, you can post the information for all those solutions. Someone's asking, where do I find sponsorship information regarding the Innovation Expo? I can send everyone the information kit after this call if they're interested. So I'll do that. See if anybody has any more questions or would like to share any marketing challenges that they're having. And if people want to take that offline and shoot me an email, that would be great too. I always love hearing about the different challenges and as it pertains to marketing, whether it's online or sort of traditional marketing activities that ISVs and partners have. It's always good to hear what people are doing. Someone's asking, when dealing with me, will that be in web sessions online? I'm not really sure. I don't think I understand the question properly. If you wouldn't mind restating it, or you can shoot me an email. Thank you. Someone's asking, since we're based in Denmark and there's a time difference, I think this person's asking, what do you do as far as webcasts are concerned? What we typically do is, so when a company runs a webcast with us, we always ask them who they want to target geographically. And sometimes what we'll do is if a company wants to target, people in Europe and people in North America, for example, we allow them to run the session twice, and we don't charge them for 2 sessions. You're just charged for a single session. And one session could run at 7 in the morning Eastern or 8 a.m. Eastern, for example, and then the other session will run either later that day or the next day at 12 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Eastern. And we allow companies to do that just because we're promoting it essentially to different audiences geographically, and we want companies to be able to sort of get the most out of any webcast that they do with us. So, and we also have, and I also want to know too, we work with so many different ISVs and partners. We have companies that use our programs that are in Australia, companies that are in Croatia, I mean, all over the world. So we're used to dealing with, the time differences and running programs that are sensitive to that. And also, too, as far as the Dynamics Innovation Expo is concerned, the hours for that on June 14th will be from 8 a.m. Eastern all the way to 8 p.m. Eastern. And the really great thing about this event, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with virtual trade shows, but for this particular event, you can multitask. I mean, you can literally be in your booth chatting with attendees on your iPhone. You can watch the show and participate in the show from your iPad, from literally any mobile device. It's so convenient and efficient for exhibitors, for attendees, and you can multitask, as I mentioned earlier. If you want to, watch the event from your desk, and you're doing other work, you're automatically notified every time an attendee goes into your booth and wants to chat with you. And you can even initiate the chats as well. And also, as I mentioned too, one of the key things about the Dynamics Innovation Expo is that it's all about the ISV and partner solutions. This is going to be the show that people go to see the latest and greatest ISV and partner solutions and service offerings. And we're going to continue to run the show every year, just because there's been a lot of demand for us to put on a show like this from our members, as well as from ISVs and partners. So I think this is going to be a real game changer, for the sort of the conference landscape in this space. Someone's asking, in recent years, have I seen an increase in leads for cloud solutions? And I would say absolutely. A lot of people, I think sort of people in general used to be more comfortable, having on-prem solutions. But, we work with lots of different cloud solution providers. On the partner side, we also work with lots of ISVs that have cloud solutions, and we've absolutely seen an increase in the number of leads for cloud-focused solutions as opposed to on-prem. Someone's asking, how many people do you think, do you anticipate will attend the Dynamics Innovation Expo? As I mentioned earlier, we had 4,000 at our last trade show, and that was 5 years ago. Our member base and our reach has grown significantly, so I would anticipate at least that number on the low end. I personally think this could be the biggest trade show in the dynamic space, just because people aren't confined or limited geographically. So you're going to see lots of people from all around the world attending the show that normally wouldn't attend an in-person trade show because they're too far away and they're not they're too inconvenient to get to or too expensive to fly to. And that's really what we saw last time when we ran these. If anybody else has any more questions, we've had some really great questions so far. So please don't hesitate to ask as many questions. I love answering all sorts of different questions about marketing stuff and the dynamics landscape in general. So keep them coming. Yeah, this session has been, I'm recording this session right now, and I'll send you the link when it's been posted. We'll probably post it on our YouTube channel, and I hope to do that in the next day or so, and when that happens, I'll send it out to everybody. See if anybody else has any more questions. Give people another minute or so to collect their thoughts. All right, so this is a great question. Will Microsoft have a presence at the Innovation Expo? Yes and no. From a presentation standpoint, I don't believe so. we really want to just make it about the ISVs and partners and have sort of a, less of an emphasis on Microsoft. It's not about, the event is not about Dynamics platforms. It's about the solutions that ISVs and partners have that can enhance the operational efficiencies, of a Dynamics customer's business by enhancing their Dynamics platform. So, what I found was typically when you have lots of Microsoft presenters, and it's not bad to have Microsoft presenters. I mean, we have them all the time on some webcasts and other things. But I don't want anything to take the focus away from the ISVs and partners. And I feel like if we had lots of people from Microsoft presenting, that could be a distraction to exhibitors and sponsors, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, someone's asking, how is that access for a European ISV to get in touch with partners in North America? And by that, I focus on the whole package. Let me see if I understand. All of our programs, we can run very specific campaigns for ISVs who just want to reach partners, and we can also run very specific campaigns for ISVs who want to reach end customers. So, that's a huge benefit to working with us really in any capacity as it pertains to marketing, because we can segment our member base and really offer, very, very targeted campaigns based on your, either geographic preference or, Dynamics platform preference or business focus area or the type of people like partner or customer. And that's going to happen at the show too. I would expect that partners and ISVs will be exhibiting at the Dynamics Innovation Expo, but partners will also be exploring ISV booths to see the latest solutions that they can possibly recommend to their own install base if they have customers with a need. Someone's asking if I have a ballpark idea regarding how Dynamics 365 is currently doing in terms of customer count. Microsoft is not disclosing this. I can talk to our editor, Jason Gumpert, about that. He might know. He does talk to lots of Microsoft execs all the time about stuff like this. So if you want to send me an email directly, I'll make sure that I connect you with Jason, or I can find that information out and email you myself. That was a good question. Thank you. All right, someone's asking, are there sessions presented live at the Innovation Expo, or will we need to prepare videos? That's an excellent question. And here's how that works. So all sponsors, regardless of sponsorship level, will be able to run live demos and live webcasts directly within their booth. The technology enables you to do that, and you can use your own platform. So if you use WebEx, or if you use GoToMeeting, or if you use Skype, you can use any of those applications, and even more, really, literally any webcast application to run live demos or webcasts within your booth. You can also upload to your booth pre-recorded demo videos or other videos that you want to post, like maybe you have a customer case study video or something like that. But everything will be at the booth. So, and that's the goal too. The goal is not to sort of tell attendees, hey, there's going to be all these great sessions, but you have to go outside of the virtual exhibit booth and go into the virtual auditorium. And there actually is such a thing as the virtual auditorium, but we're not using it for the Dynamics Innovation Expo because we don't want people to leave the exhibit hall at all. Which is why every single session will be run by sponsors and will take place in, that particular sponsor's booth. Someone's asking if I'm on LinkedIn so that you can follow me. That's very flattering. Yes, I am on LinkedIn. So please feel free to look me up and send me an invite, and I'll definitely connect. It's great to connect. see if anybody has any additional questions. This has really been great so far. I've really enjoyed answering your questions, and I hope I've been able to provide some good information to you just in regarding, kind of our outlook as it pertains to marketing and, what MSDynamicsWorld does as a whole. I get very passionate about this stuff, so I'm glad to see lots of questions coming in. That's good. See if anybody has any other questions. I'll give people just a minute or so to kind of gather your thoughts. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions. But once again, if you think of something after the session that you couldn't think of now for some reason, my contact info is right there. So please feel free to to send me an email. And even if you don't end up doing any of our programs, which and you want to talk marketing or you have some thoughts about marketing strategies, I love hearing that stuff too. And I'm always available to kind of provide you with my thoughts and feedback. So, well, why don't we wrap it up? I'd like to, thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to attend this session. Really means a lot. I hope you learned a lot. I sure did by a lot of your questions as well. And as I mentioned before, I recorded the session, and I will send everyone the link as soon as it's posted online, which will hopefully be in the next day or so. So thanks again, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.